Today I'm going to share curriculum picks for my third grader. Most of what I'm sharing today is free, so if you like free curriculum, if you homeschool, if you have a third grader, stick around. I've got some good stuff to share with you. So like I said, these are my curriculum picks for my third grader. This is just math and language arts. Everything else that we do, Bible and science and history and all of those things are family subjects. So I will link some other videos down below if you would like to check out our family subjects. This is mainly just his independent subjects. So I'm going to start with language arts. And before I jump into it, I'm going to just tell you it looks like a lot. It looks like a lot of resources. But all of these resources we use in very short spurts and we rotate through them. So never will we ever do all of these things in one day. And each item for language arts, we only spend 5-10 minutes tops on. So with that being said, let me jump into what we're using for language arts for my third grader. To start, I am going to tell you about my little conundrum. I don't know what you would call it, but I have these 3 resources and I wanted to use them all. I didn't know if I should or needed to or really actually wanted to use them all. So we are testing out the waters with all 3 of these resources, rotating through them and seeing how it goes. So those things would be Primary Language Lessons by Emma Searle. I believe I got this for free from a friend. So this is a book that is meant to take a couple of years to go through, and it has different lessons like copy work, dictation, memory work, and it just is a good variation, very simple lessons, very short. So here's something to be memorized, what you're learning is or are, a picture lesson, dictation, composition, conversation lessons. So some of these you're just talking through with your child, but I really liked the thought of this. Okay, sorry, my washing machine is loud and crazy, so I apologize if you can hear that in the background. I just shut the door. Next, I have the McGuffey Readers. These you can find for free online. This is the original version. I believe you could find the revised version for free online. I will link them down below. This is the Eclectic First Reader. We started a bit of this last year, and we weren't very consistent with it, but I did use the McGuffies for reading practice as well as some copy work. You could use it for vocabulary, you could use it for spelling lists. There are so many things that you can use the McGuffey Readers for. This year, I have chosen to use this just for reading practice for my third grader. He does a lot of reading on his own, but I still want to be able to sit with him and listen to him read out loud, and help him with, stopping at a period, pausing at commas, any pronunciation that he's struggling with. So this is just something that we do together. He sits down and reads one little excerpt from here. So one story is just a couple of pages. It starts off much easier. So this is just one lesson in the beginning. And then it does get longer. And then there is a list of words down here. So again, you could pick out a sentence from here and do copy work. You could work on these words. You could point out the different sounds or practice your phonics in here if you need to brush up on anything. You could use this to make a custom spelling list. So if your child has no issue spelling any of these words, then don't add it. If they do struggle, put it on a list, and at the end of the week, you could go over your spelling that way. Lots of ways to use this, but we're just reading through it this year. So that was my number 3, or my number 2 out of 3 that I wanted to use. And then next is this gentle grammar. And really my struggle came between gentle grammar and primary language lessons because they're pretty similar. Gentle grammar is by Sherry Hayes. It's an adaptation of new language exercises for primary schools by C.C. Long. So she took an old vintage grammar book and redid it into this workbook style. And this is level 2. I love how simple this is. We did level 1 last year. Honestly, we will finish this quite soon, and we may jump into level 3. This is free. You can go to momdelights.com and print these off for free. I love it. This is very similar to primary language lessons. It has some picture lessons. So today we looked at this picture and answered some questions about it, and then we put it down and we just orally told about the picture. I said, if Daddy came home and you wanted to tell him all about this picture, tell him about it. How would you do that? How would you describe this picture? And then there's also learning things, you know, just your basic grammar, where to put has, have, had. There's some copy work. There's some memory work. There's a few dictation lessons in here, but I believe there's only 2 or 3 in level 2. I'm not sure if that picks up in level 3, but it's very minimal here. But as you can see, the lessons are really short. So this is lesson 30 and that's it. You just have to fill in the correct word. So you can see that even if I do continue to use all 3 of these, this would take maybe 5 minutes. This would take maybe 5 minutes to read a page out of here. And same thing with this, 5 or 10 minutes. And we wouldn't do them all on the same day. So next I have Cursive. My 3rd grader wants to learn Cursive so bad. We started, I don't remember what program we used, to be honest. We had a different program that we tried, and it was so very overwhelming for my 3rd grader. So I grabbed this because it looked just very basic. This is by IEW. Is it the best cursive program out there? I am not sure, but what I have chosen to do is the only thing I require of him is to do cursive every day. And so really what that means is I require 1 line of cursive every day. So here's an example where he has learned several letters already and he is practicing words. I require 1 line every day. That would take like 2 minutes. But some days he will come in here. Here's another one where he's practicing words. Some days he'll come in here and he'll do half of this page just because he wants to. He is on a roll. He's feeling good. He's, you know, he's learning the thing that he wants to do. He's motivated. So I just require very minimal of him, and it has been wonderful. He does not fight or argue about it. He feels good and confident about it, and there is no rush to learn cursive. We can go slow and steady if it is keeping him motivated and reducing the frustration. So that's a little tip for you if you have a struggling anything, to just require a little and build their confidence, especially if it's something that they desire to learn, but it's frustrating. So we've been using cursive knowledge. I love it. You go through and you learn a couple of letters, put it into words. Learn a few more letters, put it into words. And then by the end of it, you're writing more, you're learning your capital letters, and then it has lots of just practice pages at the end so that you can do copy work. So there's a Mark Twain quote, American Patriot quote, and then blank pages. Okay, next up is spelling. I don't think that a spelling curriculum is really necessary for my 3rd grader, but he really enjoys this. It's very basic. Again, this is from Sherry Hayes over at momdelights.com. I pretty much love everything that she has put out, and everything that she puts out is free. It's magical. I will link her blog down below. She also has a YouTube channel. Go follow her. She is a mom of a lot. She has a lot of kids. I can't remember the number. It's like 18 or something like that. She's been homeschooling for like 30 years. She has so many tips and advice and free curriculum and printables. She's wonderful. But she put out a gentle foundation for good spelling, and it's splendid spelling. And so the way that this works, oops. Okay, let me find a lesson that we haven't done. We've only done a few, but here we go. So the way that this works is, this is the beginning of your lesson. It has a secret. So this is your like spelling rule. So you would read this. It has a list of words that you read. And then we like to go through and circle whatever the rule is. So this is, if a one clap word has a long vowel and ends in the K sound, we use KE to say K. So you would just circle the KE. It's pointing out that specific part of this word, and we would read through these. And then it has here where it has the secret, but you can cut it out. So we have been doing that at the end of the week. We cut this out and paste it into a notebook. And then you flip it over and you read a little story that has some of those words, and you circle any words that were on the list above. So it's just a very few short sentences. You circle any of the words that have to do with that secret, and then you draw a picture. And then on this side, you take a word from the list, and this is meant to be done pretty independently. So what they do is they pick any word on the list that they would like, they look at it, they study it, they close their eyes and see if they can spell it in their head, and then they try to put it on the paper. And when they're done, they go back and they check their own work. So it's very simple. I split this up into 3 lessons. So the first day, they are just looking at the word list and reading the secret. Second day, my 3rd grader will read the story and draw a picture. So again, these are like 5-minute lessons. He can fly through this. And on day 3, he does this word list. And then he will also cut this out and paste it into a notebook. So 3 times a week, spends about 5 minutes working on some spelling words. Just some good practice to continue to see how things are spelled, learn why. Always keeping that fresh after finishing phonics. So this is the notebook, just a basic composition notebook. And so he takes the secrets and he just pastes those in there. We also use this for any extra copy work or anything language arts related that I feel like we need some paper for. All right, and then I have 2 things left for language arts. Like I said, this looks like a lot, but it's not. Explode the Code. This was not on my radar for my 3rd grader. I chose to grab the first book of Explode the Code for my 2nd grader as some reinforcement, as we've been having struggles learning to read. I thought that it would be just a good, simple way to build up some confidence for him. And my 3rd grader was like, "Where's mine?" So I couldn't tell him no when he asked me for curriculum, he asked me for schoolwork. So I bought this one for him, level 4. This is Essential Lessons for Phonics Mastery. Again, this is kind of like the spelling. It goes over some simple rules, very basic, fill in the blank. I only have him do 1 page a couple times a week. This is also the same thing as the cursive, where sometimes he will do several pages just because he wants to. It makes him feel good to have something easy to accomplish and just feel good about himself. So we have only been doing this for maybe a month, and he's already about halfway through this book. So we'll probably have to buy the next one because they seem to love these. And lastly, I have a reading response journal. This is from Silo and Sage. She also has a blog and a YouTube channel. I can link her down below too. She is a former teacher, and she now homeschools her 5 boys. I think that's right. But this is just a simple reading journal, and I really like it. These are actually 2 combined. This is the early, like younger version. I believe it was like K through 3, and then I also printed the 3 through 6. And this was just a digital download, so I can reprint more of these pages if I want. But they're very simple. This is tell the story. What's the story mostly about? Draw it and tell about it. So nothing really specific. I really just wanted this as a way for my 3rd grader to more deeply engage with the things that he's reading. So we do a lot of read alouds during family subjects, but he is an avid reader, and I do want to start giving him some more books, to assign him some more books this year, and just have him engage in a basic way. He doesn't have to narrate to me every time he reads. He doesn't have to do a page every time he reads, but maybe 1 page per book or every other book, just so that he is thinking more about the story. So Here's more examples. There's order of events. You just draw or write something. So beginning, middle, and end. I love that this is simple because I think that my second grader could also do this. He is not currently a fluent reader, so I think that your younger child could also use this because you have the option to write or draw or be as minimal or in-depth as you choose. So draw a character. So these are all the beginner ones. There's a book review, you and the story, write someone a letter. And then here's some examples of the higher level. Here's a book review. So you put the title, author, and illustrator, write a description of the book, what's your favorite part, and then draw an important or favorite part of the book. So again, it's still really simple, but it's just a way to engage with what you're reading. So you and the story, retell the story, very simple. We've done a couple pages and he loves this. Reading is his thing, but he also doesn't quite like being told exactly what to do with his books, and I don't want to squash his love of books. I want to encourage it and encourage more in-depth thinking with what he's reading, if that makes sense. So we're loving this so far. I will keep you updated on this if we really fall in love with this or if this becomes a struggle. So like I said, it looks like a lot, but all of these resources may take 5 or 10 minutes a piece, and we only do, I'll pick maybe 2 of these to do in a day. So he's spending maybe 15 minutes on language arts, and then we just do something different the next day. So he's getting a variety of ways to work on language arts. So that was the longest way to talk about language arts ever. Let's move on to math, and this will be quick. Okay. For our core math, we are using Wentworth Arithmetic, Book 1. I have a whole video on free vintage math curriculums that range from like preschool, kindergarten age, all the way up to 3rd or 4th grade. And there are full flip throughs on all of it. So if you would like to see what exactly is in this book, I will link that down below so that you can check it out. I love vintage math curriculum. I feel like it is so thorough, it is so in depth, and this particular child is very strong in language arts and not the strongest in math. And just the way that this goes about teaching math has been so very logical, thorough, lots of practice, while also still being a mastery program. So I love this. It's beautiful. It has vintage pictures in it. It's got games, it's got oral work, it's got things to copy and do the problems on your own. It's got lots of practice problems. It's got notes to the teachers throughout the book. I feel like this is just everything I could ask for in a math book, and it was free. So I love it. This is what we are going to be going through. I only printed out chapters 1 through 3. So this will probably take us all year to get through. This is one of those books that if you are familiar with vintage books, they typically take more than 1 year to complete. So this is about a year's worth, maybe even a little more. And then I bought a math notebook for him to do any of the copying. I don't want him to write in this book. This isn't really a workbook, it's more of like a textbook. There's a lot of oral work in there, so anything he has to copy or do independently, I have him do in this notebook, and that is just to help him keep his problems straight. And it's not a lot when he has to copy. It's just a few problems. It doesn't take him very long. All right, next for math, I just have a few like supplemental things. I found this at Goodwill for $1. It is Comic Book Math Fun Schooling Journal. This is adding, writing, and subtracting games. This is very basic, very simple. If we have a day where we just don't have a lot of time to do school, if we have a doctor's appointment, if we're in the car, if we're having friends or company over, but I still want to get school in, then I will give him a couple of the independent things he can do for language arts, and then something like this to practice his math. So I love it. If you have a child that likes to color, draw, doodle, this is totally for your child. This particular child is not a colorer, drawer, doodler. So this is not exactly up his alley. He has only colored like 2 pages, and he only did the second one because I told him how much I really liked the first one. It looks so cute when you color it and you practice your little math. I just think it's adorable, but he likes to just do a couple pages and be done. Most of the time, it just looks blank. But these are fun. It has a few writing prompts. It has a few teach you how to draw things or draw a picture of. So it's fun. I paid $1. I don't know how much these normally are, but I have a feeling that my upcoming second grader might enjoy this next year. Next up, we have logic. So we are on Mindbenders level 2. My second and third grader, last year, they did level 1 together. This year, I am just having my third grader do level 2, and he loves these. I give him at least one every week, and we just kind of work on it when we get to it. Like I said, it's kind of just supplemental. Lastly, I have this Math Mammoth clock workbook. I got this in a bundle, one of those things where you buy a whole bundle from a bunch of creators for a very cheap price, like $20, and you get 50 resources or something like that. So this is not Math Mammoth's full curriculum. This is just their things having to do with telling time. And telling time, I don't know about your children, but for my children, it is a very hard concept for them to get. So we just continually come back to it periodically and use different resources and ways to teach it so that they can understand it better. And my third grader loves this. I would not completely switch over to Math Mammoth, but I do see the appeal of it. It's taught just so very simply. All the instructions are on the page as well as the practice, so it's all put together, open and go. You don't need anything else to go with it. But this has really helped. It explains it very simply, very thoroughly. It has lots of practice, and it doesn't overdo it. So we have loved this. And I think that's the last thing I have to share with you. It looks like a lot, but we only spend maximum an hour doing his independent subjects, and that's probably an exaggeration. We probably spend maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes on doing his stuff with me, or his independent work. So we will just pick a few of these things and rotate through them through the week and just keep chugging along. So I will leave all links to these down below. Most of what I have here was free. I will leave links to all the channels that I mentioned, and I hope that this was helpful just to see that you don't have to buy just a box curriculum. You can piece your stuff together and your child can have a very thorough education still.